So if you thought the regular Trident was a bit boring, this one is for you. Triumph have revealed a new Special Edition Trident 660 called the Triple Tribute, commemorating the Slippery Sam 5-time TT winning Trident from 1971 through to 1975. Basically, we're seeing a cool, unique styling version of the Trident that comes standard with a quickshifter to sweeten the deal, alongside a few styling components. This is a special limited edition, and Triumph here in Australia are encouraging people to get their name down quick smart to avoid missing out. Pricing is $14,990 or an extra $750 over the regular version, and that is right away. You can nab yourself an MY23 for 1k off at the moment though, which may be worth considering if you're an Aussie watching. The standard orange looks pretty wicked if you ask me. So yes, it is Lambs, which for the non-Aussies is a restricted version for beginners, just like the existing 660. You'll need to wait for the Daytona 660 for a full power version. Unique to the Triple Tribute Edition is the white, blue and red derived racing scheme, including the number 67 numbering. It's an eye-catching, elegant styling exercise, but it does work and catches the eye. Nice little bonuses are the belly pan and color matched fly screen, further cleaning up the look of the bike. Now, according to Triumph, they've actually sold in excess of 35,000 units of the Trident since introduction in 2020. They're almost up to selling 100,000 motorcycles a year, so that's actually a decent proportion of total sales. Keeping in mind the 400s boosted the sales in India by over 1,500% in 2023. The Trident Triple Tribute obviously plays on a bit of history, but I'd imagine it's going to be primarily a styling benefit here in Australia, with that special edition pricing largely covered by the extras. The Trident offers a triple cylinder option in an increasingly parallel twin cylinder segment, still representing the true mid-capacity class, which was until recently very much the 600 to 700cc machines, before EU emission standards saw those capacities balloon all the way up to essentially 1000ccs on many machines. The Trident is a very cool machine though. Think all the lessons Triumph learnt with the street triples, particularly the old 675 versions from years ago, but with a more basic chassis in some ways to keep costs down. The triple cylinder power plant puts out 54 horsepower or just shy of 40 kilowatts of power, peaking at 8,750 RPM, while the 58 Newton meters of torque has fully kicked in at 5,000 RPM, with the majority available all the way through the rev range, ensuring great usability. Naturally, as a triple, you're getting a very nice blend of revability and torque. I always think of this engine configuration as the ideal blend of a 4-cylinder and a twin, the best of both worlds. The full power version, which will be available everywhere else, will be the 81 PS at 10,250 RPM and 64 Newton meters of torque at 6,250 RPM by contrast, which in Europe does have an A2 kit available. We also see a slipper clutch as standard, but that is very much the norm these days. Biggest benefit there will be noticed at the lighter lever and on really aggressive downshifts, of course. Electronics are a nice loadout without going over the top. 2 ride modes, rain and road, named self-explanatory and encompassing the switchable traction control system. Naturally, making that all possible is ride-by-wire. The dash is a TFT/LCD combination, making for a more eye-catching design, but perhaps lacking the appeal of a pure TFT. And in a disappointing move, Triumph make you buy a MyTriumph connectivity system to sync up your mobile phone and unlock all the full features of that TFT, really making it worthwhile. I'm not the target market with that feature, but I have a hard time justifying why this isn't standard on any bike, which makes you pay extra for connectivity, and the Trident certainly doesn't escape that judgment. On the bright side, lighting is all LED, which is pretty much the expectations these days, I guess. Why, it wasn't that long ago we had to light candles in our headlights. Jokes. Halogens are pretty rubbish though, seriously. The Trident does of course run a tubular steel perimeter frame and steel swing arm, doing away with the aluminium units we see on their higher end machines like the street triples. That contributes to the weight figure of 201 kilos. Whoa, calm down. That's 90% fueled with 14 litres of fuel, which weighs around the 10ish kilo mark, so about 190 kilos if we're talking a non-fueled wet figure. To be honest though, the Trident didn't feel heavy to me when I tested out the bike a few years ago. More solid than a little 400 for sure, but not particularly heavy. However, I am of course an experienced rider. The 805mm seat height is pretty run of the mill, not the lowest, which goes down to say about the 785mm mark on this style of bike, but also not the highest, and the bike's relatively narrow, helping there too. Showa provide a set of big piston separate function forks, hence the SFF BP across the fork caps, but there's no adjustability. I was pretty happy when I tested the bike, the suspension felt premium, and at 75 kilos I was impressed. Although it was raining for my full test, so I wasn't cracking on as hard as I might usually. The rear shock also comes from Showa and is a preload adjustable unit. Within expectations for the segment and price point, I'd say, although we're seeing some adjustable suspenders on some of the quite competitively priced smaller capacity machines these days, which must be turning up the heat. Nissan provide the brakes, a set of 2-piston calipers on the front 310mm rotors, and a single pot caliper on the rear 255mm rotor, both backed up by the ABS. I mean, it is mandatory everywhere but the US these days. That's a good brake loadout, if not quite at the same level as dual Brembo 4-pot setups, with the more beginner friendly and mid-capacity focused loadout here being a nice compromise. If you're out riding the bike, I guess it's time for a street or speed triple. Wheels are a set of 17-inch alloy rims, and that means a 120/70 front tyre size and a 180/55 rear, both offering a great range of tyre options to handle pretty much any rider preference. Michelin Road 5s are the standard fitment, giving you a really solid all-weather or conditioned tyre on there to kick you off. Naturally, there's a whole host of accessories available, as on the regular Trident. I reckon I'd opt for the heated grips, which are pre-wired internally. As far as warranty, you're getting a 2-year unlimited kilometre warranty here in Australia, which is mirrored to the accessories for peace of mind. Servicing is also every 16,000 kilometres or 12 months, whichever comes first. I wouldn't be leaving my bike 16,000 kilometres between services, regardless of cost, but that's just me. Oil really isn't that pricey. So as mentioned, the Trident Triple Tribute Edition retails here in Australia for $14,990 right away, and because Triumph were kind enough to send the info out in advance, so I could get the video ready the minute the embargo dropped, I've only got the Aussie pricing and availability, which is again May 2024. Overall, the Trident is one of the more unusual options that falls broadly into the 650 class. That triple is a unique power plant with a very cool triple whistle that's recognizable anywhere. Styling is also a standout, typically Triumph in straddling that thoroughly modern look, but without looking like everyone else's machines. Whether we're talking that very clean and minimalistic tail, the unusual tank design, or single headlight with very clean design overall. I'm not such a fan of the underbelly exhaust, despite it helping weight centralization enormously, or the swing arm mounted license plate holder and indicators, despite them cleaning up the rear of the bike noticeably. But then no one's perfect. Am I talking about the bike or me? Who can say? Definitely get down your name on one of these ASAP if you really want one. There was plenty of emphasis on these being quite a limited edition run, and as the premium covers the extras, I can actually see them being very popular with anyone who was going to buy the fly screen and quickshifter anyway. But let me know what you think of the Trident Special Edition. As always, stay safe out there, leave a comment, hit that like button or sub if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. So if you're an Aussie and interested in a review on the Lambs version of the Trident 660, check out my review from a couple of years ago because it'll be pretty much the same except for that quickshifter.